Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us.
Hello, welcome to a postponement of On Deck. We're starting a little later today. Had a couple things come up, but hey, we're here anyways to talk some baseball. Getting into playoff time there. I guess Dirk didn't want, or Greg didn't want to talk baseball, I guess. So.
Remember last week he said every time the commercial comes on, his feed goes out.
Oh yeah.
He'll be back.
All right. So I'm joined like normal by my backstop there, Chris B. Bacon. How you doing, bud?
Doing good. Questions with the Rangers, but we'll get to that later. But not too bad.
Yeah, we'll definitely get to it later.
Can I show them my new wrestlers?
And down below us is Coach D. How you doing, Coach?
Pretty good. Still hot here in Texas, as Chris can attest. Tired of it.
Yeah.
Got the Mets on behind me. They're losing to the Braves, and they got thumped last night. That's okay. Nobody goes 162-0. So.
Yep, exactly. And then Mr. Big Dog Greg is what does. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing pretty good. How you doing?
Oh, we're hanging in there. So let's talk about it. Greg, you haven't been on a couple shows, so how are those Cardinals holding up?
Well, man, my Cardinals are doing really well. I think they're pretty much doing the same thing that they did last year, putting on a show right towards the end. We got a lot of theatrics going on right now. We got Albert Pujols chasing that elusive 700 home run number. It's kind of it's going to be pretty tight to see if he can get there. I think they're going to have to put him in almost every single game. I think he needs a home run every 6 games or something like that to get right to 700. So
what's he at right now?
What's that?
What's he at right now?
688.
He needs 12.
Is it 88 or 89?
I think he just
either way.
88.
Yeah, he had two
yesterday. We'll get into that. We'll give our predictions on that. So, Coach,
right now we bypassed the Brewers. We're a couple games up in the Central, and I'm a little nervous. So if we drop off, I don't think we're going to make the playoffs because I think that the Phillies and the Braves and the Padres are just a little bit better for those last 3 wild card spots. So right now we got a pretty good edge, but Milwaukee or the Cards, they got to win the division because I don't see 2 teams making the playoffs out of that division.
Yeah, we'll definitely get into that talk. Coach, you've already talked about your Mets a little bit. So how are they coming off of last week?
Well, they got up to a 7.5 game lead. They took, of course, last weekend, we all knew, took 4 out of 5 from Atlanta, and then they won 5 out of the next 6, including 2 out of 3 from the Phillies. Well-pitched games. Scherzer and DeGrom. It's just sickening, but sickening in a good way.
Yeah.
Scherzer should have got a win Friday night or Saturday night against them in extra innings. They lost. I really hate this stupid ghost runner. Make it come out in the 13th inning, not right away. It's just weird. I know it doesn't mean that like the Mets would have won that game or anything, but You know, it's the game has to get over early. Okay, then why are we playing them? You want the game to get over. You know, it's extra
You're not
inning.
school
you know?
kids. You're not school kids.
And how often do they go more than 12 innings anyway? It's very rare. You know, that's 3 extra innings to get a run or two.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, and then the Grom went out Sunday and was just unfreaking believable, you know, and the Mets won that game. Diaz coming in, again, I'm going to say this, Cy Young, you know, name me a pitcher who's more dominant, you know, Scherzer might go in there, but they got Alcantara and Gonsolin is doing well, you know, so, but I'm going to start the Edwin Diaz for a Cy Young award. And if I could do the trumpet, I'd do it, you know, something like that, you know. And the Mets have been hot for the past few weeks, hitting really well. Alonso and Lindor have been carrying the team. Marte's been doing well. The new additions, Vogelback, Daniel Ruff, and Tyler McQueen, man, that's like picking up a solid hitter, you know, those 3 guys, you know, so good call on the Mets. They didn't have to give up any prospects. Catching still a little iffy with the hitting. McCann hasn't found his groove yet. He's only batted like 120 times this year, been hurt a lot. So, and Nito, he is what he is. Tonight, they got the guy they picked up from the Pirates in the Vogelback trade, Perez. He's not a good hitter, but my God, he's got a gun. He threw out Acuna at second base on a ball that bounced behind him, bounced off the backstop, and he stood up and he fired a rocket, and McNeil got him on the foot. I'm like, okay, the gun is there. It's just the guy just is not a hitter, but he'd be a great number 2. So other good news for the Mets. Prospect Brett Beatty will be playing tomorrow against the Braves. Coming up from AAA, he's hitting like 19 home runs, 70 RBIs, playing good, solid defense. And the Mets could use a third baseman because Guillorme's out for a few weeks. Escobar has a little issue with his oblique. He's sore, but he's playing. And he hasn't really got off the schneid with the bat yet. He's hit some home runs. But he's hitting 219. He's a 265 career hitter, and he usually hits around 20 homers, and that's what the Mets were wanting, expecting. He's been playing okay defensively, but he's a little sore. Guillorme, their best glove. Yeah, I know Lindor, but Guillorme's one of the best fielders in the National League. He is good with the glove. He's got a groin issue. So here we go. You know, they've been lucky with not too many injuries. Pitching wise, they got McGill on the way back. Peterson's back. Carrasco just went on the IL, or he will. He's going to be out 3 or 4 weeks with a strained oblique. What is it with the oblique muscle? Anyway, but I think they got enough pitching to be good. They're not doing good against Atlanta right now, but hey, nobody's going to win every game, and Mets in Atlanta are good. I was thinking about them 2 teams in my head. I was trying to go position by position. I think position players, maybe Atlanta has an edge because they got good hitting catchers. But I think the Mets have the pitching edge, so they're very well-balanced teams. They do, both well. They pitch, they play defense, and they hit. They're very good teams. This is going to be a fun race. Just stay out of it, Phillies. You have no business here.
All right, and let's get to Chris's Rangers. How are they looking? And I know we got some news to talk about them, so...
Yeah, so, it's been a rocky season we've struggled the first couple games or few weeks of the season. Kind of pick back up in the middle. Right now it's kind of up and down. They did fire their manager. Unfortunately, I don't think that helped because we're losing to the A's right now, 3-0.
Okay, yeah,
They
the
are.
Twins.
They are on a 4-game winning streak. And just if I could throw in 2 cents,
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
one of the big issues with Chris Woodward and the Rangers, they were 6-24 in one-run games.
Yeah.
Okay, if you just play 500 in one-run games, they're over 500 team. And one-run games is a lot of luck involved. And odd thing is, last night with Tony Beasley as a coach, they won 2-1. They won a one-run game. So, like Chris Woodward is sitting in the airport at the bar, just shaking his head. Give me another shot.
Yeah.
But it's crazy too because he had an extension. What, in November?
Yeah, what? I can hardly hear you, Chris.
He had an extension in November.
Oh, you signed an extension? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, the Twins, they're struggling a little bit here. I think the inconsistent baseball they've been playing finally caught up with them. They entered today 2 games back. They are up right now on the Royals, but I kind of like the Cardinals. If you don't win your division, you're not getting in the playoffs. So,
Yeah.
So they got a battle there. With them being inconsistent, I'd rather them not make the playoffs. But
The two
I think it'll
East
be a good-
divisions. I was going to say
What's
the
that?
2 East divisions in all of baseball have the best divisions. So you're looking at 3 potential playoff teams from the AL, 3 potential from the NL. So yeah, it's going to be very hard for a team to squeak in there.
Best
Yeah,
division from the East.
Yeah. So right now, I mean, if we look at the wild card, you got Seattle in with a game ahead. You got Tampa and Toronto, and then you got Baltimore. I mean, who would have thought Baltimore would have been a game and a half out of the division? And then you got the Twins and White Sox right there. So, I mean, and then in the NL, you got the Braves 6.5 up. You got Phillies a half a game back. You got San Diego holding that 3rd spot, and then Milwaukee is 2 back. So, I mean, yeah, it's going to be like Greg said. There's going to be a couple teams that if you don't win your division, you're going to be looking at the outside looking in. So speaking of the Cardinals, we'll get back to Pujols here. There's about 50 games left in the Cardinals season. He needs about 11 home runs to get over that 700 or get at 700. Greg, do you think he's going to do it?
I think he's got a pretty good shot because he's going to hang it up after this year, and so I think that if they just get him more DL, I mean, put him in as the DH and just play him almost every day, I think that he's got a good shot at it. I mean, he can lock in. It's just that his numbers have been slipping the past few 4 or 5 years, but I think that with this being his last hurrah and chasing that 700. I think it's going to bring a lot of excitement, and I think he's going to come close. I would really, if nothing else, I would like for him to at least A-Rod.
Yeah.
And pass him, even if he just finishes like 3 short. If he can get past 696 and pass A-Rod on the home run list, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I think, Albert's got a couple things going for him. Once, they're in a pennant race. They're in first place. So makes you a little more pumped up. I don't think he's overly thinking of the record himself, but he'll probably DH a lot, and just the playoffs in the or in sight, the excitement in it gives you a little more juice. He hit 2 home runs yesterday. He might get a little more invigorated. He just has to play pretty well over the next month and a half. If he does that, hits the ball hard, I think he's got a legit shot.
And he's pretty locked in on left-handed pitching too. So
Yeah.
If he's
hope
in
he
there
gets
against a lot of
701.
left-handers, he's got a really good shot.
Mhm.
Chris, how about you? Do you think Pujols pulls it off?
I think he'll come close, but I say he does.
Yeah, I'm pulling for him, but I really think he's unless he gets dialed in like a prime Pujols. I have a feeling he's going to come at least 5 short. I think he's going to get 695, 696, somewhere around there.
But what a
Yeah,
career, man.
Oh no, you're definitely right. Probably going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. I don't
He
think
should
there's
be.
no. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
You know, he can play 3 positions or could in his prime.
Yep.
You know, he could play third, first, outfield.
Yeah, he wasn't really that big an outfielder though, but yeah, he played it.
Yeah.
Does he pull if he's 1 short and if that record meant a lot to him? Do you think he comes back for 1 year?
I don't
You get
know. I
that?
thought for sure the A-Rod might have came back for like half a season or something so he could hit 4 home runs, but
Yeah.
it never happened.
I know.
Anything can happen, but I really think that it's about time. You know, I think that his numbers do.
I don't-
hang it up.
Yeah, I don't think most players would come back just to get a record. He would come back if he felt he could play a whole season, you know.
Yeah.
And he said it, this is his last, but
Yep.
you know, let's see how they finish. You know, they've got a good team. They've got a shot at the World Series. You know, maybe they win a playoff series and then can't do it. Maybe it invigorates him, and he'll come back for another year. But he won't come back for just to get the record. That's pretty selfish.
Yeah.
Guy, actually. And
And,
Albert has.
and we remember what happened with Ken Griffey Jr. He had a halfway decent season. And then came back, and then he couldn't hit anything, and he retired after like about 80 at bats.
Yeah.
You know, he just didn't have it. You know, he thought,
Yeah.
well, I hit 16 home runs last season, and then he couldn't hit the baseball anymore, and he just kind of faded out. And I'd hate to see something like that happen to a guy just kind of chasing.
Yeah. And that was the one thing I think the last person, or maybe the only person to come in and retire in the middle of a season was Kruk, and I think he retired in the middle of a game, got his 3,000th hit, I think it was, and then called it a career right in the middle of the game. So
Not John Kruk.
wasn't it Kruk?
No, he didn't get 3,000 hits.
Well, he got a hit and then he retired or something. I know that.
Yeah, he had if I remember, he had like a fairly good 10-year stretch. And, you know, I can't remember the circumstances of him retiring. Maybe he was just hurt. And he was never a super in shape guy, you know, and, you know, and he was kind of fun loving, you know.
I mean, he can still play ball, but
you know, yeah. And we'll have to look that up, see what the circumstances were on his retirement.
it was, well, his last hit was 1170. Yeah, he only played 45 games in 95. But yeah, I thought it was to get some kind of hit, and he walked off as a or got a pinch runner. But I couldn't remember the circumstances. So,
I'm just glad he didn't pull an Antonio Brown and take his shirt off and make a big show.
that would have been something.
That would have been, I don't know, something.
So, Chris,
Yeah.
kind of mentioned it earlier. Rangers make a manager change. So
I got some information on John Kruk here. It's kind of interesting. It's pretty cool. Okay. Well, John Kruk finished his 10-year career with a 300 batting average, exactly 100 home runs, 592 batted in. Okay. And the parting statement he issued is the desire to compete at this level is gone. When that happens, it's time to go. And I think that's what he did. Yeah. And he became, it doesn't say, Hildorf, No, that's not right.
So
Yeah,
he
he
finished
just
with lifetime 300 average. So that could have been it. Get that one hit to get him to 300. So off of Scott
it could
Erickson,
be.
no,
But
nevertheless. So
that's a pretty dang good career, man.
uh,
300 batting average, and it's kind of odd. He had exactly 100 home runs, which is it's cool in a way. You know, not many guys. 10 years. I mean, he was a good hitter. You know, no doubt about that. You know, he was an opposite field hitter. He hit the left field as a left-handed batter, and he was always really strong.
mhm,
You know, that was the thing I remember about him. And he was always a guy that liked playing the game. And it probably too many aches and pains, you know, and he got injured. He was out. He had a gallbladder surgery and he tried to come back, you know, and he probably said, you know what? I've made my money. You know, he made millions. I'm quite sure, you know, good baseball player. Wish they were all like him.
So anyway, so Chris, let's
Yeah.
get to your Rangers. They make a managerial change.
They did.
Did you get the phone call too, or no?
No.
Oh, okay.
I
I
thought he
would've-
did. He put it out there so fast.
Yeah, no kidding. I thought maybe you had insight. So
I was like, well, I was looking all over the place. I didn't see anything.
Chris got some inside scoops because he put stuff out there really quick. I don't know. So, but
Um,
anyway, so what do you think?
I mean, I kind of, or you know, there's word of he was gonna get fired at the end of the year or sometime this year. It's just the timing of it's different, you know, or
Yeah.
kind of off because you're still in the middle of the season.
Yeah,
you're on
they
a
had
winning
won
streak.
3 in a row.
Yeah. So
You know,
Oh,
because-
did that happen to a team last year where they won so many games and then
Yeah.
fired their manager?
Yeah, my Cardinals won about 18 games in a row.
I
And
like
then
what you
said,
did there, Brandon.
yeah,
So you're
mister.
saying there's a chance? I'm just playing.
Yeah.
No, but I mean,
I don't know. It'd be funny if the Rangers got hot and made the wild card. Then that'll be the popular thing to do: is fire your manager in August and make a run to the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, so Chris, who they get to replace him?
I think
Do we know?
first base coach.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right now Tony Beasley is taking over for him.
Okay.
They're on the look. The Rangers are looking at. I would love it if Michael Young would want to manage. You know, because
He's in the
what
front
ball
office.
player he was.
Michael Young, former Ranger.
Yeah, second baseman.
Second base. Okay.
Tough, gritty ball player. The attitude he would bring to the ball club would be serious, but still have a good time.
Yeah.
But I see there's talk of it, but I think that's people like me and Chris wishing, you know. I was just thinking today, maybe Joe Madden, you know.
Well, that's what I think. I think you're going to see Madden in the mix. You're going to see Girardi in the mix. You're probably going to see, you know, some other, you know, like you said, Michael Young, you know, maybe Ventura. You know, I mean,
There's
wouldn't that be
rumor of
something?
Washington,
Yeah.
if you wanted to.
I don't
bring
think
back-
Robin Ventura.
no, I don't think so either. That would be just
Maybe
ironic.
Jesse Ventura.
Jesse Ventura. No, I think we're definitely going to see a lot of talk coming up. So, Chris, do you think it was the right move, or do you just think it was just, you know, a move that
you want
I
to
mean,
think
because they
it's a-
spent a lot of money this offseason.
I think they spent a lot of money because they wanted to win now. They felt like they could win now, and that's where they got the pieces they did. Now, I think
Mhm.
this is probably a little bit of a scare tactic too, in a way where it's like, hey, the manager's gone. You could be out next too.
Yeah, that
Right,
could
right.
that definitely could be a scare tactic. Dirk, what do you think? You know, was this the right call? Too early? Too late?
Well, there's a couple schools of thought that I have. One, he was never really given a good team.
Yeah.
I don't. And I was talking to Chris earlier before the show. I couldn't figure out what kind of manager he was. I think the guys liked him. I think they played hard for him. But just with the players he had, the Rangers are so young and they have really no pitching. They got two okay starters. They're good. They're not all stars. I think John Gray was an all-star one year. They're good, and they got another couple guys that could be good. Their future is in their minor leagues. They've got several pitchers that are really good, that are playing double-A ball. Might see one or two of them in September. You can only bring up two guys, so not going to be much of a big move there. Their position players, the Rangers are fairly set. You got the two big guys, Simeon and Seager, in the middle. Their outfield is Garcia in right, Leote in center, and Calhoun a little bit in left. But then you also got Traveris, who's looking better and better. Eli White, another guy that can play center field, is on the DL. But he was early in the year when he was playing, he was good. They got good outfielders. Some pop. They got Nathaniel Lowe at first base. First base is a very good first baseman. He's 260 hitter. He's going to hit 20 some bombs, drive in 80 some runs. Play good defense. He's good. He's solid there. Third base, they're getting ready for Josh Young to come up, the Texas Tech Red Raider third baseman who got hurt and had surgery last year, and he's been playing a little bit this year in the minors, and I think they're getting ready to bring him up just to give them some time. He is very good. Their catcher, Jonah Heim, he should have been the all-star instead of giving it to Alex Trevino on the Yankees, because he's actually got better numbers. 260 batting average, like 18, 19 home runs, 60 RBIs. He's a good young catcher, and they got good guys on the bench. They've got some talent on this team. It's just like it always is with the Rangers, pitching. But I think now they've got pitching in the minors. Usually they've gone the free agency route to get the pitchers. Even during the World Series years, they got Cole Hamels, and they got a couple other guys that were good pitchers, right? I think now they got Jack Leiter, Kumar Rocker, Cole Reagans, who's up on the big staff now. And there's a couple other guys down there that are doing very well. Their farm system is a top 10 farm system, and it includes a lot of pitchers. So, they're playing better this year than last year. At least they're fun to go watch now. They're going to be in the game. They're going to win 75 around games. Maybe they get hot and they win 83 to get over 500, but they're right there. They're not going to be a 60-win team. That team was not good, so I can't blame it on the manager to say, but the general manager and the baseball president, John Daniels and Chris Young, they did say in a news conference today that the idea we wanted wasn't being communicated. What we want with the team wasn't being communicated well enough. So,
but you said
they had an idea. What was that, Chris?
I was going to say, but the other day, there's talk of, are you guys on the same page, Daniels and the manager? And they're like, yeah, we're on the same page.
Chris Young, yeah, them two are, but I think just from what they said, it was a little bit of under talk, kind of, just like Woody wasn't portraying the message they wanted them to portray. Maybe that's the case, again, I've watched the Rangers some this year, and they give 100%. That's a little bit on the coach, so they try hard. I just don't know what it was. Maybe it's his game strategy. Need more small ball to take care, kind of use them young, fast legs or something like that. Pitch counts, what the pitch, when, where, how, does he want these guys to nibble, or does he want them to go after the batter? And, it's the Nolan Ryan approach. I'm not Nolan Ryan, but when he was on the team as president, the Ranger pitchers were pretty good because he told them stop nibbling and go after the hitter, right? Mm-hmm. Throw strikes, pitch to contact, or throw it by him. And you know what? For a couple of years, the Rangers had pretty good pitching staff. They made the playoffs. That was under Nolan Ryan. Nolan left, and that idea kind of went away. I don't know why. It worked, but it's just the Ranger way. The odd thing I find is being a Mets fan and living here in Dallas so long and following the Rangers. The Mets and Rangers history is so similar. Bad trades, the bad manager moves, the trading away a young guy to get a washed up superstar, and a young guy turns into a star. It's so similar. It is really similar. If the Rangers won them 2 World Series, they'd have the same number of World Series rings as the Mets, and they would be equal then.
All right, Greg, what about you? What do you think they're, up for the Rangers?
I think that when you're looking at sports like, basketball, whether it's college basketball, professional basketball, and you have a team kind of doing the same thing as the Rangers, where the Rangers, as Coach D said, has lost more one-run games than they won, and if they could have broke 500, they'd be right around 500 or fairly close to it. So in a sport like basketball, when you got a team that's playing really hard and is within 2 or 3 points every night but can't seem to get it going, I think that in a sport like that, a lot more probably falls on the coach, because the coach can call some plays and stuff. Basketball and baseball are 2 completely different type of sports. But I think that the one-run games, and how many that they've lost and everything, I don't know if they needed to make a big shake-up and fire the coach at this point in the season. But I think that the Rangers obviously are trying to go into a different direction. They still get quite a few fans in the stands, even if they're playing under 500, and they're trying to make some moves to get some big players and trying to build a team fairly fast. I think that, like Coach D said, they got quite a few up and coming prospects within their farm system for arms and stuff. So I think that if they don't go out and spend an outrageous amount of money trying to get an all-star team and maybe invest a little bit more in pitching health, I think that they're going to head in the right direction. And I've watched the last couple of games that they played since I live here on the West Coast when they play the Mariners. And, they have a really good crowd. So, their attendance isn't really dropping, even though they don't have a 500 team out there.
No, they're going to draw at least 2.5 million this year. That's why they built that stadium. I don't know what it looks like, but, maybe they're pushing 3 million. That's what they want.
And that's the same thing that kind of happened with the Astros. The Astros, before they started their dynasty and their big run, they ended up doing the opposite. They didn't really go out and get like a bunch of stud position players. They invested in a couple pitchers, got Verlander and a couple other guys for their pitching staff, but they had a really good system with Bregman. They had Altuve coming up. They had Springer, and then
Correa.
Even when they were playing really bad baseball, they were still filling the stands. So they were still making a lot of money that was helping them make some good offseason moves. So I think that the Rangers will probably start going in the right direction. I didn't think that their manager was a terrible manager. I think that Ron Washington was a better manager for them than this guy. But I think that
I love Wash.
Yeah, Washington was a good guy. I just think that when you have an organization where there's a miscommunication because the general manager, the owner, the vice president, all those people should be in contact with the players and the manager and everything, and tell them exactly what we expect for the team, what we want. So to have a miscommunication like that is really unnecessary because they're all within the same place. So somebody should be talking to somebody to tell them what direction they're expecting the club to go in. But I think their next manager hire needs to be somebody that has some good discipline, but also can get along well with everyone. I think that the old school Tony La Russa, Joe Girardi, those guys, I don't know if they would be kind of a good fit for a younger group of players. So I think that you might have to find a younger manager that is willing to let them go out, have fun, but still bring a little bit of discipline just to keep the team grounded.
Well, that's why I was thinking Joe Madden might be a good choice because he, with Tampa Bay and everything, he's really good with the young players.
Yeah, I
and
think they need somebody a little loose, don't you? Somebody that's just, somebody that's a little bit more.
Ron Washington's name has been thrown about, but I think he's like 72, and he's, I don't know if he wants to. Of course, he goes home to New Orleans every winter after the season, so he doesn't really uproot anything, and he's very low key. But he's with Atlanta; they're a good club. He does a lot with them. At his age, does he? You have to want it. Dusty Baker wants it. So you have to want it. Don't take it just for the money. And Wash is not that kind of guy anyway. He lives in a small house in New Orleans. It's like a 1,200 square foot house.
I mean, if you guys go with the young movement, and Dirk, you said that they got quite a good young minor league staff. Why not just bring up your AAA manager? With the young guys, and
that could be something too. I don't know who it is, but maybe I need to go down to Round Rock here. Chris and I need to take a trip to Round Rock.
There you go.
We'll go to Round Rock Station, and then we probably won't make the game because we'll be all passed out.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing, too. I don't understand why a lot of these teams don't bring up their AAA managers that often. I mean, they're there with the young guys. You're in a rebuild.
You would think that
it's Matt Hayden.
What's his name?
Matt Hagen, Hagen.
I don't know him.
Yeah.
You would think they would do that, but I think like they do players kind of now managers will move up, in the minors. They'll start single A if they're good, they move up. But then it's like they sit there at AAA and they're not. It's not like the players, because if players are like 1 or 2 years here, 1 or 2 years here, 1 or 2 years here, and then major leagues. The managers, suppose you got your major league manager, he's going to be there for 15 years. How old is the AAA manager? I don't know. He should know their organization, though, and what they're trying to do, and if he's at AAA, if he every year has a successful record, that's partly on him, because he has completely different players every year. But if he's winning, they're all good, and he's doing the same thing. Why not? Or at least maybe teams do interview them. You just don't hear about it because they're not a name. And
I don't think they need to go out and get somebody that's really young, but someone like Joe Madden that's young at heart, and somebody that has a good relationship with younger players, and somebody that is just a little bit, fairly relaxed, but not so relaxed that they let the team run all over them, but can keep them a little bit grounded, but still have fun and really go out there and just enjoy it, because they are a young team and they're going to make a lot of mistakes. But I think that they're a team heading in the right direction. I just think that they need, it's the same story for most of Major League Baseball. You can't get enough great pitching.
Yeah, exactly. I think time will tell what happens. So we'll move on to another one here. I think it was Sunday's game. The Rays, Baltimore. The Rays pitcher. I can't pronounce his name. Let me get to the stat here. Rasmussen.
Rasputin.
Yeah. Rasmussen, yes. Yeah.
Rasputin.
He lost a perfect game in the ninth inning with the not leadoff double. The second batter hit a double off of him, and then they pulled him. Dirk, I know you coached, but again, you're coaching, teenagers. But I mean, the pitcher had 87 pitches, 62 strikes. I would have left him in. Just let him finish
in
off
the ninth inning. Shoot, leave him in. Let him pitch a complete game. Why are you pulling him out? The guy got a hit. Okay. There was no outs. He still needed to get 3 outs, No,
he had 1 out.
There was already an out. So there's a guy on first. The next pitch is a ground ball double play.
Yep.
How do you know? I would have, with today's pitching, it's really weird. The Rays are in a pennant race, so if he wanted to make sure and lock it down, but I would have given the guy a chance. I would have 87 pitches. Come on.
Yeah.
Next guy on base, you're done. But
yeah, it was a 4-0 lead. The guy doubled and then scored on. Oh, he scored on a wild pitch. So they must have got him. So it must have been a leadoff hit. Moved him over to third, and then Rasmussen threw a wild pitch to get the score. So they took him out after he scored.
And the only other reason maybe the manager took him out because he wanted the young guy to hear the applause.
Yeah, possibly.
Because he would get a standing ovation.
Yeah.
The old school.
Get that after the game.
The old school way of managing, there's just way too much overthinking, in my opinion, in baseball. Some of the old school veteran managers that have come and gone, the Sparky Andersons, the Jim Lelands, those guys, they didn't need 2 or 3 guys. They didn't need somebody to come and tell them when a pitcher was done. They could sit there and say, I'll let you know when he's done. And they can sense when a pitcher's done. A pitcher that's in the ninth inning with 87 pitches is not done.
Their pitchers went out, from the mid-90s back. Pitchers went out there with 9 innings in mind. Not, now they go out there 5, 6 innings. If I give 5, 6 innings, I did my job. Verlander's got like 13 or 14 wins. He might get 20, but 20 wins is going to be so rare now. In the 70s and 80s, and I'm sure in the 60s, you'd have 6, 7 guys with 20 wins. Look at the Seavers, the Carltons, the Ferguson Jenkins, Bob Gibson, those guys. You look at their starts, 36 starts, 29 complete games. It's ridiculous. Tom Seaver.
That's why these big name teams
7 years in a row, and that was a record, and because he pitched 250 innings every year, to 300. Nolan Ryan went way over that, and people say, well, he didn't have that good a record. Well, he pitched on mostly bad teams. That's why he
Yep.
doesn't have a 750 winning percentage. He was mostly playing the Angels, the Astros, the Rangers. Were they winning ball clubs? No. You can't help who you play for. So.
And the
Well-
fact that Nolan Ryan finished his career, only 30, 40 games over 500 as a pitcher, but he still won 300, well over
Right.
300 games. So he went out and
24.
got a decision every game, win or loss, because he stayed in there longer than 5 innings.
Yeah.
Well-
6 innings.
Speaking of Nolan Ryan, like you guys said, they, back in the day, hardly took anybody out. Back on, let me see find the date here.
That was just the other day. If you're
Uh,
doing what I think you're going
No
to do.
decisions, because a lot can happen after the
no. There was June 14th, 1974. He took the mound. 13 innings later, he threw 235 pitches and got a no decision.
Yep.
So, and that game went 15 innings. So I mean, like you guys said, I mean, the coaches are just so ready to pull the trigger. I mean, we brought it up before, me, Chris, and a couple others on a different show. If the Twins had the mentality in '91, we would not have seen probably the best game pitched in a World Series history at that time. Jack Morris pitching that one run game, 10 innings. And he's come out and said that if Tom Kelly would have walked to the mound, there would have been a fight. So, but
It was a different mindset. I think Max Scherzer is of that mindset, but he understands how the game is played today.
I think Kershaw is. I think DeGrom is.
Kershaw,
Well, I mean, like you said, I mean, the game has totally changed. Mindset,
college
coaching.
baseball has more of the old school
Mhm.
Major League Baseball mindset now than Major League Baseball has now.
Yeah.
College baseball usually rides with 2 or 3 really good pitchers all season long.
Yeah.
I know it's a lot shorter season and stuff, but yeah, they're not afraid to use their big gun and keep them out there.
Well, I think college is a lot shorter, but I think the playoff system seems like it's a whole different season. So it seems like they play
Well,
forever.
yeah, the regular season, I think, is around 45, 48 games.
Yeah.
But if you make it to Omaha, you're playing 60 games,
Yep.
which, they're athletes too. And they train and stuff. And there's guys that also pitch that will pitch more,
Yeah.
as they play in little mini series, 2 out of 3. So you bring in a guy who doesn't normally pitch to pitch.
Yeah, and it's
He
not
goes
uncommon
back
in college baseball to see your best pitcher still get 14 to 16 starts during a season, and that's not even 50 to 60 games. So they're going out there and throwing. So I don't know why they're so hesitant. And the Yankees have done this for years under Aaron Boone. It's like, get me 5 innings and then we'll just use the bullpen. And
Yeah. I mean, if you can burn out a bullpen, but if you got,
Yeah.
like they were letting extra players, pitchers this year, and then they stopped it a month ago, you had to cut it down 1 or 2. They
Yeah.
had an extra guy to be able to be in the bullpen.
Yeah.
And, I don't care what they have on the roster. Let them be at 28 all year, and
I think we're going to get there, Dirk. I think it's either going to be 28 or 30 soon.
yeah, it's just more pitchers, but sometimes you have extra pitches. Maybe they aren't good, like the Mets guy tonight, Alvarez came in
Like the
after
Twins
the
bullpen.
second inning. I don't know what happened to Walker. He's
Mhm.
just gone. I don't know what he did. But Alvarez, everything that the Braves were hitting was freaking moonshots. Olsen hit like a 5-mile home run off him. And then there was a line drive to left, a line drive to left, a line drive to center. I'm like, Jesus Christmas, get that guy out. He's
Yeah, we definitely. Oh yeah, Walker after 2 innings left, 1 hit. Yeah, I wonder. Definitely got to dig into that one.
I looked. I haven't seen anything. I can't think he was
Oh.
hurt. He did throw like 40-some pitches.
Yep.
Maybe Buck said, "Screw it, he ain't got it tonight," or
Yeah.
something. I don't
That
know.
that would be a quick turnaround. But anyways, we got about 10 minutes left here. I want to get to the biggest news in MLB because I've seen a lot of posts of it, and San Diego has now pulled their bobblehead for Tatis. I don't want to get too much in. I mean, I want to get everybody's thoughts, but I don't want it. One, coast to coast is not condoning cheating, taking drugs, illegal drugs, and all that. So we'll put that out there right now. But Greg, I'll start with you. What do you think? I mean, what do you think about the Tatis ban? I mean, granted, yes, it is going to be 80 games. I mean, what do you think?
Well, you're talking about two major things happening to a guy within the span of less than a season. Okay, you had the Fernando Tatis injury that really set back the Padres, not having him in the lineup. Fortunately, Padres, Manny Machado has been having one heck of a season and has been pulling a lot of weight.
Mm-hmm.
And then they went out and went all in and pretty much gave the Nationals the keys to the city, gave them right to SeaWorld, everything else that comes with the town. San Diego gave them a free VIP pass to the set of Top Gun, whatever you name it. They got it for Soto. And so they had this big plan of having this ultimate big three with Soto, Machado, Tatis, and Tatis was on the verge of coming back, from his injury. They were going to have probably the best big three in the lineup. They had huge expectations. And I think that my personal opinion is you got a guy with just an absolute immense wealth of talent. I mean, there's no doubt that Fernando Tatis is a very talented player. But at some point, it's like a lot of professional athletes we've seen in many different professional sports. I think there's a level of immaturity there that, and I'm not saying that he's not worth the money that he's getting paid, but there's a lot of immaturity, not just within him, but a lot of professional athletes, especially at this age, that are making these kind of mistakes and trying to live their life, but also be a professional athlete. So I think that San Diego has to address this issue, and he's acting like it might have been an over-the-counter type mistake or something, but I wish that he'd take a little bit more ownership. Even A-Rod took more ownership than that over this kind of stuff. But I think that when you got a guy of his caliber, I really think it derailed the Padres. They were all in. They were hoping to make a championship run. And I think this drama and now not having him in the lineup and everything is a definite setback. So I think that, he's still really young and has a lot of talent, and I think that he will provide them great years of service once he comes off of suspension. But I think that they need to do something to try to get him on the straight and narrow, because it's obvious that there's an issue with his level of maturity.
Yeah. Coach D.
He had ringworm supposedly. And it was a spray, I think, to treat ringworm.
Yeah.
I had ringworm many, many, many years ago when I lived in Florida, and I ran around barefoot a lot at the beach. And it's sort of like jock itch. It's called ringworm because the infection goes in a circle, and you can see it on your foot. And it's like jock itch in that it's itchy as hell. When you're wearing shoes, oh my God, you can't do anything about it. So you can buy over-the-counter stuff that takes care of it, Now, I don't know what that stuff has in it. And, why any professional athlete, because they're screened for drugs now, if they go to buy something to the store, they should go to the team doctor or ask the team doctor first, what can I get at CVS? Or do you have something? And
Yep.
everything should be run by the team doctor. Now, he can't be a 24-hour pharmacy, but
Yep.
like say for headaches and muscle aches, every player should be given by the team doctor. These are what you can take. Take this for a headache, this for muscle soreness. It's all checked out. It's all good. If you got jockish, here's the cream you use. Here's the powder you use. And if they get something else, like a ringworm, they should always go to the team doctor. Don't blow it off. Now, Fernando Jr., his daddy was a professional baseball player for a long time, and a pretty darn good one too. So he was raised in a professional household. He knows, he should know this stuff. Even his father he's defending him, but not defending him. It's I say it's the team's fault. They need to get a tighter control. I know you got to pay money. I know you probably got to hire a doctor rather than it's like a trainer that's one of his jobs. He's a trainer for the local college. He's a trainer for the, because of the drugs and the prescriptions, now ultimately it falls on the player for not doing his due diligence, but also it should fall on the shoulders of the ball club to help that player do his due diligence. Don't just say, do it on your own, it's like, I got a headache. Well, hit your hand with a hammer and you'll forget about the headache. There's got to be a better way. The NFL is way more into it than baseball is, but NFL first, baseball second with the PED stuff. Basketball and hockey, it's just a little, and it's not that bad. But there's got to be a way. Maybe talk to the NFL teams. What do you guys do to make sure your guys, because it's in their face all the time, what do you do to make sure your guys are on this up and up? And, maybe Tatis, if he knew it, he wouldn't do it. Maybe if he, knew it, he wouldn't have done it. Maybe he wanted to do the right thing, and he just made a mistake. Oh, I'll buy this stuff, Got to tell the guys, you are not medically trained. Go to a doctor, a team doctor who has the list of banned substances, and he can prescribe to you what you can take. You can call him on the freaking phone. You say, Doc, I've got ringworm. What can I take? I'll go buy it. If it's a prescription, write me a script, and I'll hop my little happy ass down to CVS and get it. Then I know I'm okay. It's on both. It's on the player. It's on the organization for not informing them, for not figuring out a way to help them. These guys are playing every day. They're tired. They're all sore at this point of the season. Nobody's walking around without aches and pains. They're taking Tylenol or I don't even know if Tylenol is legal. Who knows? It's just, there's got to be a way to figure it out. I would say get with an NFL team because last year the Cowboys went to the Rangers when Dak Prescott had a shoulder issue, and they got the Rangers pitching coaches to go help him to, how to work out the shoulder, how to throw, how to warm up. I would have thought a quarterback would have known everything, but they said that the Rangers coaches gave them a lot different ideas about strengthening the arm. That was a brilliant idea. Why not use the other sports teams in town for something that they may have, information on? Two heads are better than one. It's, that's just my thing. And as far as the Padres are concerned, they played 2/3 of the year without him. I know it would make a difference, but press on. You've got a freaking team of all-stars. Start playing like it. They're not playing well. So one guy is not going to help you right now.
All right, Chris, how about you? I know we kind of talked last night on four bros. So,
Yeah.
what's your take on this?
I mean, ultimately, it is on the player. It is on Tatis. It sounded like originally he was gonna appeal, and then he backed out and said, "No, I'm gonna serve it." So that kind of says that he kind of knew about it, but it's also, like you said, Derek, on the doctors. But it's ultimately on him. He should have went to the doctors. He probably had a list of prescriptions. I don't know, but it's ultimately on him.
Yeah, no doubt. I think, like Dirk said, it's on the players, it's on the organization. There was a statement I was going to read here. Let me bring it back up from Tatis when the story came out. I'll skip the first paragraph, but he did apologize to everybody. Uh, he has no excuses for his error, so he is admitted to the error. I would never do anything to cheat or disrespect this game I love. I've taken countless drug tests in my professional career, including March 29, 2022, all which have returned negative results until this test. He's completely devastated. Where did it say? After initially appealing the suspension, I realized that my mistake was the cause of this result, and for that reason I have decided to start serving my suspension. So he has admitted, yes, he was going to appeal. But the reason why I kind of wanted to bring it up is a lot of people are saying that he's a cheater. He should be banned. His Hall of Fame vote, he's done. Let's just take this case as an example. If this is his first time testing positive, which it is because he only got 80 games, how many games did he actually cheat in? Would just be the four, in my account, the four AA games. He hasn't played on the Major League roster this year, so I mean, if it's 100% an honest mistake, I think he's going to get tested more now. I believe that's
Well,
the
if
policy
it's
now.
80 games, that goes into next year. So he'll
He's out for 32 games next year, but I think he's going to get
so
double.
he'll miss the first month and a half.
Yeah,
Right.
but I believe now that he's going to have to be tested more now that he's tested positive. So,
But also the
That's part of it.
suspension, but the suspension also goes into the playoffs. So if the Padres make the playoffs, those count too.
yep,
And as far as-
right
as
now,
long as they go
it's
in.
set to be. Right now, it's set to be 32 games into next season.
And he doesn't get paid.
Nope, and he doesn't get paid.
But
Yeah.
I'm sure he not worrying about money.
Yeah, no, but I really more want to get you guys' thought on. Do we classify him as a cheater yet, or is this kind of like, okay, let's see what the next test brings up?
Honestly, I think he just made a mistake and he didn't.
I do too.
It's a spray for freaking ringworm. Okay.
I do too. But
Right.
but Dirk, you have brought up good points, and Chris, and Greg, you all have too. Yeah, he should have reached out to the doctor and said, hey, especially making this kind of money and you're going to jeopardize your career. I'd be making a phone call at 12 o'clock in the. At midnight, be like, "Hey, doc, not feeling good. What can I take?" So.
Yeah, there should be. Each player should have a kit of accepted medicines that they can take for simple ailments, headaches, aches and pains. A muscle relaxer or something. That's legal. And then if they have something else come up. Like something you got to put a cream on, like a ringworm. So just simply call a doctor.
Yeah.
I know they could give the players a list of provided items for this. Some guys are too stupid to read, and maybe he's that kind of guy who just doesn't comprehend. But, it's on the organization. It's on the player. It's on the team. It's all three of their fault. I wouldn't classify him as a cheater. He wasn't Ken Caminiti sitting in there in the freaking locker room shooting injections into his butt right before the game. And they used to do that shit. Back in the 90s. Them guy Ken Caminiti, he died when he was like 47 because his freaking internal organs just gave it up. but it made him a great player for 5 years, and but he killed himself because of it. That's the extreme case. This is not an extreme case. And tell me, I would like to hear what the banned substance could do to him. He's already playing, he's already rehabbing. He just has to get his timing down. He wasn't healing, he was healed. So what is this?
And I think he's only played 4 games in AA.
Yeah, if you're playing a game, you're good to go.
Greg,
your rehab games are just to get you back your timing. Go ahead.
Yep. Greg, what do you think? I mean, should we classify him as a cheater, or what do you think?
I wouldn't classify him as a cheater. I think it was a mistake. And if it really is the ringworm thing, I think that Rob Manfred should have some sense and maybe look at lessening the punishment a little bit. It's because if it really is something contained in ringworm, I highly doubt that Barry Bonds, Brett Boone, Mark McGuire, Sammy Sosa were all hitting up pet stores or Walmart pharmacy or whatever looking for ringworm meds.
Oh, you got the ringworm cream?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they can.
I take ringworm every day.
Hitting up the vet, So
goes into PetSmart. he gets dog food and ringworm.
So I wouldn't quite classify him.
No, I think we can all agree
talent,
mistake.
but with youth comes immaturity sometimes, and I'm not just talking about that. I mean, there's been things with this accident and other things. So I think that some of these younger stars just need to, and we've seen it in the past with people having to learn how to manage money and how to deal with your entourage and stuff like that. So there's parts of fame and there's parts of massive talent that you have to kind of sharpen up your life a little bit, and I think that's something that will do Tatis and a lot of these younger stars good is maybe get a little bit more mature on how to handle these things, for future reference.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, I definitely agree. I think it was just a mistake. So with that being said, guys, we want to thank everybody, all the fans joining us. Chris, give us 30 seconds of your time. Final thoughts.
Thanks everyone for watching, tuning in. Tuesday Night Mania, moving to Wednesdays at 9 o'clock. Kind of changing the name, but it's going to be the same show we've had before, just a different name change. So be on the lookout for that.
All right, Greg, how about you? Final thoughts. You got to be getting ready for school to start, huh?
Well, I'm teaching summer school. Got 5 more days of summer school, and I actually just got called by the high school principal wanting to know if I might be interested in long-term subbing for 9th and 10th grade English. So I may end up having a full-time gig and not have to bounce around from school to school. So I may be set in one spot. So yeah, school's about ready to head up, and all I can say is baseball is probably the toughest sport to bet on. Don't bet on the over and under, because these pitchers that have the 5 and 6 ERAs, they'll throw a 2-hit shutout. And then the teams that you think are going to put up massive numbers, they'll end up only scoring 1 or 2 runs for the night. So always take the money line, guys.
Exactly. Derek, how about you? Final thoughts.
All right. Hey, Greg, appreciate what you do being a teacher. I really appreciate teachers. You guys are right up there with firefighters, first responders, and us military guys. So hats off to you, because I have some friends that are teachers. I know it's a hard job. Unlike most people, you don't get 3 months off in the summer. You might get 4 weeks if you're lucky. I know that. And Greg, school's been on here for 2 weeks. What's taking you all so long? What's going on? And it's 100 out.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, it's good to be back. I ended up taking the nieces to go watch Minions last week. So
Oh,
I saw part of that. It's funny.
yeah,
I love
All
the
right.
Minions. I
Yeah.
don't know which one I like the best, but they're all funny. It's the
All right.
yellow guy.
Yeah. All right. So, yeah, just keep checking out Coast to Coast Entertainment. We got Morning Tailgate premiered this past Sunday with our predictions. Like Chris said, we got Bo and Joe tomorrow. We got Sportsman tomorrow. We do have Tuesday Mania, which we will be renaming. But just keep checking us out all year, all week long, because we got different shows popping up here and there. So, with that being said, hopefully we have no postponements next week. We'll see you guys all next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central for On Deck. Have a good night.